Week 13 in the NFL is here. No rest for the weary. Hopefully, you had a good Thanksgiving slate. We got to begin the work once again here. And of course, the process looks like it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare projections, looking at stochastic data, see the top plays are, the top value plays are, according to the revered site. We'll also check the ownership as well. We'll hop across the aisle, see what DTR thinks is the cash game lineup. We'll run some sims on there if they're available. We'll run some stochastic sims too. I'll try to do a hand build. And by the end of this video, guys, you will know all the must plays for NFL's Week 13. Let us get into it here. Hope it was a good Thanksgiving for you guys. The slate itself, I got most of my money back, so I feel like that was a moral victory, largely because of going heavy on Rashee Rice, going heavy on Dontavian Wicks more than I thought. But really, that was not a fun slate. I felt like the Detroit stuff busting early. Amon-Ra with the 0 knocked out a quarter of my lineups along with the field as well. I'm sure some people more than that. So that's the way it goes. But of course, we got to dust ourselves off. There's more work to be done here today for the NFL and the schedule. You got the free video here, the must plays premium video coming up for the paying members at the tail end of this one. So I will queue up a 5-minute timer and you guys will know when that's transitioning over. And at 2 p.m. today, NBA video for me on the Splash Play Bets channel. 6:30, I will also be on the NBA Live Before Lock show on Stochastic. So a joyous Black Friday here. You guys get to celebrate with consumerism. I get to celebrate by making slightly more money, I guess, than I would have been if I took today off. But let's get into it, guys. I got to say up top, too, I think the slate is not the most fun slate in the world. A lot of dog shit games, a lot of dog shit situations, a lot of tough defenses for the teams that we like, a lot of easy defensive matchups for teams that we don't like. So let's know that going in here. And let's start it with Devon Achane, the man, the thumbnail this week. $8,300 salary, 2.9x value at a 23.8 projection for him. Also, this is a funny chat. Hey, all, happy Friday, whatever color you want to call it. There we go. That's good. And shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys being here. St. Brown killed me. Not a surprise. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes when a guy puts up a 0. High ankle sprain. Looks like he's going to be out a couple of weeks too this season. And Trey Benson, by the way, this has nothing to do with anything. Trey Benson's not going to play this week, guys. He's been gotten this 21-day window open. He's got one more week to play. And if he doesn't play, I think that's it for him for the year. And his knee apparently is not in great shape. So every injury that like could impact me, especially in best ball, is just reared its ugly head time and time again. Thank God Jane Daniels will play in week 14, not this week. Devon Achane, though, your chalk play of the week. The big thing really for Devon Achane, top protected player, good salary on him. Achane also has hit in a lot of spots lately as that mega chalk. I get it. PPR wise, always looks better on DraftKings than your FanDuel underdog as well. But for Achane, going against the Saints team that we have seen, stuff to run pretty meaningfully throughout the year. We saw them, in spots that it seems like they should give up production, not giving up a ton of production. But really, Miami 23.5 implied points. I get why they're getting there, but again, a shutdown red zone run defense, negative 0.38. Is that correct? I mean, it has to be, but negative 0.38 EPA per red zone rush allowed by New Orleans would be, I think, the best in the NFL by a good margin. A negative 0.07 EPA per rush overall. Again, Achane can get through the pass games. You don't want to fully ding him for that, but New Orleans does limit RB targets pretty well. Only a 15% RB target rate, whereas a soft team will give up, 19 or 20. I just don't know that's a smash Achane spot. Again, I get it price tag wise, I get it projection wise. But when this guy is your slate defining chalk of the week, it doesn't really fill me with a ton of joy. And I like Achane as a player, but I think it's gonna be a lot of ownership for a guy that, again, PPR wise, does he get you to high teens at a minimum? Probably. Especially against a New Orleans team that's not doing a whole lot, offensively, sure. But I just don't think he's a great play, and I think we're going to get ownership on him like he is a great play. JSN facing Minnesota here. So tough matchup on paper. Obviously, he is having the year of years at this point, on pace potentially to hit 2,000 yards. Minnesota, frankly, looking less good every week as it goes on. I think the defense kind of breaking a little bit more because of the offense not being able to pull their weight. They're down to a negative 0.01 EPA per dropback, which is not great, but it's not bad for a guy like JSN who kind of has the entire pass offense flowing his way. A negative 0.01 EPA per pass as well. Again, not great, but could be worse. Zone heavy team. JSN's been, oh my God. JSN has a 38% target per outrun and 5 yards per outrun versus zone this year. Nobody else on the team's above 2. What a crazy year for JSN. Really at a level that, the usage is there for him. Even the red zone roll's getting better. He's up to 1 red zone target a game. I really don't want to pay $9,500 for JSN. I got to be real about it. I have not been crazy about him every week where the data keeps giving him, whether it's ETR data, stochastic data. That said, I think he can keep hitting. Like, he certainly can. Like last week with Tennessee, it just felt like they wouldn't need to have him put down a monster game. He did put down a monster game. This one versus Minnesota, they probably need him to put down a monster game. It's going to be a little bit less easy for him to get the results, the 50-yard kind of touchdown things that we've seen him put up. So for JSN, I assume you'll get some, but him, Jonathan Taylor, 9,800, McCaffrey, 9,300, Nakua at 9K. It's really brutal pricing for, again, a slate that doesn't look awesome. So a lot of factors coming together, but JSN, your number 2 guy, just shy of a 23-point projection. Bijan Robinson, 22.1 fantasy points, 8,500 here. Go to get some very soft Jets defense. I like the spot a lot for Bijan. The fact, too, that it seems like he'll be a little bit less of a value projection optimizer play than Achane, I think makes him appealing as well. The issue with Kirk Cousins has been that Cousins not really getting the ball to Bijan the same way, but on the year, Bijan's still averaging 5.5 targets a game, 21 to 10 touches a game, facing a Jets team that has looked a little bit better, actually, since they've traded those guys, but still one of the worst pass defenses in football with a 0.13 EPA per dropback, 0.14 EPA per pass allowed, 0.03 EPA per rush. Not great in the red zone either with a 0.06 EPA per run play there. I think for Bijan, it's a good spot for him to get back on track here, as much as one can with Kirk Cousins as a QB. I also don't mind the stack. We have no Drake London again this week, so Mooney, another opportunity for him to show some upside after they force-fed him the ball decently last week. He had the one long touchdown. Kyle Pitts faltered last week as the most obvious Kirk Cousins target generally this year. But, going back to him this week for that reason, not a bad idea. I think Atlanta looks good, and Bijan being a part of that certainly looks good to me here. The Jets defense, still one that I'm willing to attack every week. McCaffrey at 9,300, facing Cleveland. Cleveland, obviously, the Myles Garrett stuff. He's probably going to break the sack record this year. Doesn't impact Christian McCaffrey in any real way, in fact. But a negative 0.2 EPA per run play allowed by Cleveland. That's not good. QB, one of the lowest EPAs allowed per target to RB targets, negative 0.2 EPA on those plays. That's not good for McCaffrey. McCaffrey can PPR scam his way there, but at 9,300, think you need some efficiency here, and 20.5 implied points for the Niners. Does it make me feel like they're going to have a ton of offensive success? So, again, another player. I feel like I'm a Debbie Downer here up top. But McCaffrey, I'd rather go to Bijan, I think. I'd rather go to Achane personally. And I'm not crazy about Achane, but, like, McCaffrey, this is not, to me, the spot where you want to pay for McCaffrey. You want to pay for him in, like, runaway, layup, easy spots for the most part. Games with a good total against a competitive, divisional opponent. Sure, that as well. I don't think Cleveland's going to be the nut spot for him, but, we'll see what the ownership looks like. And Puka Nacua, I love this spot for him. Carolina's defense is getting worse by the week in the pass game. They're a decent run defense, though even that's getting worse as well. But a 0.15 EPA per dropback allowed, 0.15 EPA per pass. We're talking about one of the worst defenses on the slate here. A Rams team with 27.3 implied points going into Carolina. But I think it's a good spot for Puka. Devontae Adams had better touchdown equity, and Adams is now up to 2.5 red zone opportunities a game. Puka Nacua at 1. That is a drastic difference between those two. But Puka with a 37% target rate, he's in that JSN range. So I think for Puka Nacua, out of the 9K guys, I think he's my favorite, but it's hard to imagine wanting to play a lot of 9K guys unless there's some value that I'm just not seeing right now. Taylor is a bit interesting to me despite the shitty projection. I mean, they all have shitty projections here for the most part, but he is one of those guys about 20, so sure. Mooney is upside, had the long ball, but only had 3 targets last week. Yeah, he did not get force-fed targets as much as you would have thought, but, the air yards were there, and he did have the one big play. But, it's hard to tell who really wins with London being out because it wasn't Mooney and it wasn't Pitts, and didn't seem like it was the running backs really either. But, hopefully he gets better today this week against a softer defense. Behind Puka Nacua, we have Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, those guys above 20. Nobody else in the slate above 20. But Achane, JSN, Bijan, McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, these guys all pretty similar range of projection here, and certainly I think they will come up a good amount. Well, a few of them will at the very least. Top values, Tyrod Taylor, facing Atlanta on the other side, $4,300 salary. Tyrod, I will say to his credit, he throws the ball when he is dropping back, as opposed to Justin Fields, where pocket constantly collapsing is always an issue. I watched the Jets a lot this year because I was so invested in Fields and Garrett Wilson. That was part of why. But also, like last week, I just thought it was an interesting spot. Went to Tyrod Taylor a little bit with John Mechie and A.D. Mitchell. The Mitchell part didn't pay off. The Mechie part was actually pretty solid. But Tyrod going against Atlanta, they are a 0.01 EPA per dropback team, 0.1 EPA per pass. So not as soft as a bunch of others, but Definitely still softer than league average. 0.06 EPA per rush. That's also a soft number there. So the Jets might be able to have success here. Tyrod, I'm not sure that there's going to be massive upside across the board for him, just because of the fact he's not really that kind of fantasy player. But he is still running, 5 times a game, throwing deep 4 times a game. His biggest issue really is that his targets are not, guys that we have super great projections on. But I don't mind Tyrod Taylor. I don't mind the Jets stack. Again, if you're going to try to afford these 9K guys, you got to do something to get you cheap. Tyrod Taylor could be that thing. Am I doing showdown stuff? No. I'll do the game when I go game by game for the paying members here, but I'm not playing the slate. I have to do this. I have to do NBA, so it's not really a priority for me. CJ Stroud coming off concussion protocol, going against Indianapolis, 16.8 points. Indianapolis is probably going to have their toughest match of the year going against Houston. We also have a broken fibula, or a fractured fibula for Daniel Jones, which he says he's fine. He's been a full participant in practice, but got to think that does limit the mobility a little bit. So really the push for Stroud to be the thing that I think makes him most appealing. The fact that he's facing a Colts defense that's league average, a little bit soft against the run, 0.01 EPA per dropback, 0.01 EPA per pass. So again, just basically league average. If Indianapolis can get any success against Houston, I think Stroud would have to drop back more. I'm just not sold this is a spot where Houston doesn't shut down the pass game entirely. Taylor can maybe still get something going. Houston's run D is not great, and the Colts run D is really good. But for Stroud, I think if you get in that game environment, I would consider Stroud stacks when you don't have, or when you have Jonathan Taylor. I think Taylor with Stroud, you save some money there, maybe. Nico's under 7K. I think that could work. I'm not crazy about Stroud. Really haven't played him a lot this year, so not sure why this would be the week, besides the fact his price tag is down from having apparently a very serious sprain injury, where they're like, that was a long concussion protocol for CJ Stroud. Number 1 receivers do well against Indy. Collins is a good click, though not sneaky. I mean, DVP versus number 1 receivers is never a good stat. I know that from Football Outsiders, because I tried to make them do that stat, and they're like, it's not one you want to track because how you define number 1 is different. It could be a guy in the slot, it could be a guy out wide. It's a normal matchup. I don't think it's special, to be honest, but sure. I think the reason you might see more production from number 1 receivers is because the Colts have been kicking everybody's ass, but like in terms of the matchup itself, it's not like naturally softer, I don't think, for Nico Collins. Tyler Shuck at number 3 here, 4,400, 14.6 fantasy points for him. Facing Miami, which is still a bad defense, even though them getting some less bad results has made it look a little bit less egregious, but honestly still the worst pass defense on the slate. 0.22 EPA per dropback allowed, 0.25 EPA per pass, 88% catchable ball rate. Shuck to Olave, I still feel like should pay off more. It's not a bad projection on Juwan Johnson. If Achane hits, maybe you could play a New Orleans stack with that to cut the ownership as part of that. I would play Shuck and Taylor over Stroud personally. These guys are your top 3 values. Get another slate here where all the value is at QB. Cam Ward, 15.1 projection, and looking better lately at a $4,600 salary. I suppose he's in play. Ayumanor is limited in practice, so he might be back in this week. But if not, you're going to get the other assholes out there, DK, Van Jefferson, Chig. How many snaps did DK play last week? DK got to 61 snaps last week. Van Jefferson, 69. Which is a nice number if it were not Van Jefferson. I think there's definitely theoretical opportunity for Cam Ward. Again, he's looked better basically since the moment Mike McCoy took over, but it's a zone-heavy matchup. Nobody on this team really gets open versus zone or is super productive against it. Cam Ward, I think you generally, I don't know if he's a sharp enough player right now to really be great against zone either. Really kind of nickel and diming me not liking Cam Ward, just seeing his name be up here, really. But he's been just a disappointment to me. I don't think I want to play the shitty stack. If I want to play a shitty stack, I'd probably play the Jets side or play Tyler Shuck with a much better player and Chris Olave. But Cam Ward coming up here. And Sam Darnold, top 5 value as well at 5,600. If you're going to go to JSN, certainly should consider Sam Darnold at a spot where people probably won't want to play that combo as much because JSN so ungodly expensive. And then, facing Minnesota, even though they've definitely softened up the last few weeks, still a defense that people hold in some amount of respect. Let's go to ownership next, guys. If you got any value in this video, please do show some love. Hit that like button, subscribe down below as I scroll us back up here. But it goes a long way for me here. Just one dude showed you my gambling. About 3,000 people watched the Thanksgiving video. So shout out to all you guys that watched. But of course, I'm doing these videos for every slate, not just Thanksgiving. So main slates on Fridays, Monday and Thursday, showdown slates, hitting those as well with the same process here. Looking at data, running lineups, what you should be doing to kind of get ready for a slate. I do it here for you on stream. So please show some love, hit that like button and subscribe. And of course, check out Stochastic too. One of the big ways I'm able to do what I do here is you guys signing up over there, and you guys have been doing that a lot the last 2 months. Record numbers for me. So let's keep it going if we can. Hit that, hit the like button, but also click the link down below, 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. I think the deal that they had going where it's like 50% off of a week, that's ended. But if you want monthly packages, weekly packages, I think even yearly, technically, you get 15% off. Nobody buys yearly because it'd be a couple grand. But if you did want to buy it, I mean, why not for the holidays? 15% off. Use the promo code SPLASH. Click the link down below. And join the channel, too, if you want to see the premium video coming up at the end here or get access to my data sheet that I put out every single week. Join for $5. It supports the show. You get a cool little avatar. You get some gifts. You get to join the Discord and be in the mix here where a bunch of guys trying to gamble, talk ball, all that stuff. There's a lot of viewers for that video and, good amount of likes, too. But no, I'm sure a lot of those people will never be back again. That's unfortunately the nature of YouTube, but glad to see it. Devon Achane, $8,300 salary, 46% ownership. It's so much Devon Achane. That said, when you go through the slate, we talked about all those top projected guys. There are warts on every good play, I feel like, on the slate. So Devon Achane being half your lineups with him, I wouldn't begrudge it. I don't think he kind of feels like Chase Brown last week to me, where it's mostly price and just the guy making lineups work. He's a little more explosive, obviously, a little more upside than Chase Brown, but like it kind of feels like the same thing. It's not really a great play. It's just a guy that's a little bit cheap against a team that's not very good. So Achane here, going to be highly owned. I don't have an issue being with it. I think if he gets in every lineup, that's where I go. I don't really want this much Devon Achane. Breece Hall at number 2. That's more than I would have expected for Breece Hall. 32%. Hall, the workload has been good. He's still giving some amount up to Isaiah Davis, but he played 42 snaps last week. It's Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Davis played 17. The share is definitely in favor of Breece. And Atlanta's run defense is a soft one that we generally want to attack. So I'm cool with it. That's a lot more than I would have thought for Breece. But, Tyrod Taylor gets the ball out. Checkdowns are on option for Breece more than they were with Justin Fields. The rushing upside in particular is what you're hoping for Breece. Breaking explosive plays. Definitely can do that against Atlanta. But yeah, I thought Breece would be like a sneaky play this week. Did not think it would be a 33%-ish owned play. JSN at 27. That is a lot of people willing to pay $9,500 for a guy. I guess it comes down to, do we think that for JSN, you were in the midst of a Cooper Kupp historic level PPR year? I think that he's been very good on that front. I think weekly the projection is not, to me, as like unfadable, especially with that price tag coming up. But that's a lot of the field paying $9,500 for a guy, along with a lot of the field paying $8,300 for a guy. So there's probably going to be a lot of shitty value played this week, would be my guess. Puka Nacua, 9K salary, 23% expected ownership. It is a real soft matchup going against Carolina. Like Minnesota, I think, might be a sneaky bad defense now at this point. Carolina, an objectively bad defense in the past game. Puka Nacua, PPR has been there. The touchdown equity, though, has been really flowing Devontae Adams' way more than you want to see. The tight ends as well, catching a little bit more than you want. But Puka Nacua, if he hits that ceiling, it can happen against Carolina. I certainly wouldn't want to be under this number. There's a lot of people spending up for 2 9K receivers. And Jalen Waddle feels like the natural lever against the Devon Achane if he has an outlier day in the pass game. Certainly can be something that makes Achane not hit his projection. But Waddle, 21% owned, 6,800. It's a good matchup. The pass defense for the Saints, much worse than the run defense. That's a lot of Jalen Waddle. He's not the most fun click, I think, is super chalk. So this is your chalk. Kenneth Walker, not too far behind. I guess the hope in this one is that them signing Cam Akers this week maybe means that Charbonnet's banged up or something. I don't know. But I would never really want to play Walker as mega chalk either, given the fact that he is still meaningfully time sharing with Charbonnet. Last week for Kenneth Walker, played 30 snaps. Charbonnet played 15. So yeah, that's a snap share jump for him. But you run the risk that the red zone opportunities still go away. So the chalk this week, man, is tough. Sure, you do not get a nude egg emoji anywhere. People are too afraid to give you the reality of egg biology. Here on this channel, you get nude eggs left and right. Bijan Robinson at 18%. It's really not that sneaky, but less so than some of the other guys. Chris Olave, 17 or 18, I guess, for him. Bowers, 17. McCaffrey under 10 with his high salary. Taylor at 7 with his high salary. Rico Dowdle down here at 6% after he's a pretty squeaky wheel this week. Not getting enough touches last week versus the Niners. Darnell Mooney at 5%. Greg Dulcich at 5%. He is minimum salary. And you're probably not getting Waller back in this week, even though his practice window opened. All right, well, let's see what the solver gives us, guys. I got to tell you, like, normally, do just go through the data here. I feel like I get a good feel for the slate. I really have no clue what we're going to get in terms of the optimal here. So let's see what we get. Of course, next stage of the process, guys, hit that like button, subscribe. It helps me out here a bunch. But let's get these lineups in. Let's build 25. Let's touch the projection a little bit. So it will run a cash game optimal build. And let's see what we get. Of course, the solver is ETR's tool du jour. Their data gets pumped into it. So that's why we're going over here to see what this looks like. Stochastic ETR, that's your biggest data providers out there that a lot of people use to tremendous success. So check them both out. They both have different reasons for existing. Solver 2, click the link down below to go over there and use the promo code Solver20. I think it should still give me attribution, but they never offer promo codes anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But use Solver20 if you want to get 20% off on Solver. I like the tool a lot. I use it for NFL and NBA when I want to have more hand on the wheel control of things as opposed to just giving over control of the stochastic sim. So I like the tool. It's a good tool. And ETR, of course, I think speaks for itself. So check it out. Link down below, and then use the code Solver20 over there. Even though you click my code, or click my link rather, and then use the code, and you should be good to go. All right, CJ Stroud in your cash game lineup here for ETR data. Devon Achane, Kenneth Walker makes it. Puka Nacua, Tet McMillan, Michael Wilson again. Riding the train, though. Marvin Harrison looks like he's going to be back, so don't know that I love him as a cash game play. Greg Dulcich, 2,500 coming in here. Oronde Gadsden coming in here as well. He looked like a highly owned play in stochastic data too. And 49ers D. I like Puka Nacua. I think that's all I got. I really like these are not the guys I think that are like the most fun plays this week. To be real, I mean, I don't think there are a ton of fun plays, but like this cash game build is like a lot of guys that like Michael Wilson in cash that just feels dumb to play at this point. You're adding another variable in, and Wilson, I'm sure, will keep some amount of workload, given the fact that he's played better than Marvin Harrison probably his entire career in the last 2 games. But like, it's got to come down a little bit from having Harrison back out there. And McBride also needs to play a little bit better than he did last week. So there's a couple of factors to make me not want to play Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson is 100% of the top 25 lineups with ETR data. Achane is at 100% as well. So right away, these are 2 players that will be core plays for ETR users this week, assuming projections don't move too much. And these guys will get into more lineups than people realize with ETR data. So 2 players that right away will probably get you more unique if you are playing ETR data to build lineups. If you don't play them, you'll get more unique and cut away from those group of people. They'll be kind of force-fed them. Player stacks here. A lot of Dolphins stuff, nothing too noteworthy. Getting some natural Jets stuff, I guess. Nothing crazy, though. Oh, overall, though, 56% of lineups have at least 2 Texans. So you're getting Stroud plus Schultz. Stroud plus Higgins. Stroud plus Nico. So you're seemingly naturally getting Houston stacks in the cash game lineups more than I would think you should. So my guess would be that we just get more, because it's going to be an easy click, especially the jam in studs. You might get Houston stacked up a lot more than they should be because they're just projected well. And you're getting all the options too. Like you're getting Schultz, you're getting Nico, you're getting Higgins, you're getting all the guys. So it's like a Stroud thing, but those guys also look pretty good. All right, let's see. Do they have sims? They do have sims ready. So let's pull in game stack settings here. Put bounce rate on too. All right, we're going to build 250 lineups here and sim them out. Oh, I love how the show is just people coming in and asking if I'm doing Showdown, and I have to go, no. No, I am not doing Showdown today. This is a main slate video. Week 13 must plays. If you're a premium member, you can watch me talk about the game briefly. I want to do the premium side of things, going game by game, but I'm not covering it because I'm not playing it, and I don't have the bandwidth to do it. But use stochastic data, use solver data. Check it out yourself. All right. Let's see what we got as this builds. No worries, Chase. I get it. Everybody wants to play the show. Actually, honestly, people don't want to play the showdown. It's not a big showdown today. But yeah, I have to do NBA and NFL, so not really. Not a priority. Guys, I always say on the channel, I show you guys what I'm gambling on. I'm not gambling on that slate. I'm not even going to put one lineup in because I don't have the time. In between doing work today, and I have 4 hours of streams today. I have to like help decorate the tree. I got to hang out with our kid who's off from school. So Bears, Eagles, unfortunately, not on the radar. Do think though it's a good matchup for the Eagles pass offense for whatever that means at this point. All right, come on, guys. Build these out. Would love to make good time on this video. I think we're going to get some shit I hate in the sim. It's going to be my guess. All right. There we go. Simming out here. Of course, don't forget the portfolio tool. If you're building 20 maxes, 150 maxes, this is a great tool to use, which just selects a grouping of lineups for you. On showdowns, you can also select like 0 dupe lineups, 5 dupe lineups max. It's a really good tool that I haven't talked about the last couple of weeks. So if you use the solver, use that solver 20 Black Friday deal. Try to take advantage of that. And it helps you build more diversified portfolios naturally is a good thing. I do stuff like uniques on lineups, bounce rate if I'm using the solver to get the portfolio more unique. But yeah, if you have a tool that a site makes that does a good job with it, I think Run the Sims has one as well that creates a set of lineups for you that hopefully leverage against each other. It's a good thing to have. You can see this is simming out here. What are we going to get? They know an ETR. It's probably going to be Stroud Mega Stacks up top. Because I feel like ETR Sim always gives you a more extreme version of the cash game lineup. Or I guess like a total fade on it, but I don't know what that would be. I'm curious if Achan's going to be a high Sim ROI guy. It feels like he's the easiest one to just not play and just roll the dice at other running backs. Well, let's see. Top ROI lineup. All right, so it's not Stroud up top, though he's in the top 5. Jacoby Brissett. We're going back here again. Brissett, Breece Hall, Devin Neal making it. I presume Kamara's not in the data set. Does seem like Kamara's not going to play this week. So Devin Neal here against the Dolphins. Dolphins a much shittier pass defense and run defense, but Neal probably underpriced for being a starter. Alec Pierce makes this one. Michael Wilson is part of that double stack with Brissett. We got Igbuka as a bring back. Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Titans D. Look, you can play Brissett in any matchup, and I wouldn't be mad at it. I just really think the Michael Wilson going back to him again, I think that's a little bit of a trap, and I'm surprised ETR has given it to you as like the best play of the slate. Your number 2 ROI lineup is Baker at QB, Achan again, Neal again. Actually, Achan, Neal again, Alec Pierce again, Emeka Egbuka again, Michael Wilson again, Oronde Gadsden, Kamani Vidal, Niners D rounded out. Got another Brissett lineup at number 3. Brissett, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Michael Wilson, Emeka Egbuka. Trey Tucker makes this one. Double Trey with Trey McBride. Kamani Vidal. I think Stochastic and ETR may have Hampton still out, but Hampton might play this week, so something to keep in mind when you see Vidal here. And Titans D rounds this one out. Number 4, we have Tyler Shuck, Devon Achan, Kamani Vidal, Michael Wilson yet again, Jalen Waddle, JSN, Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill. Shuck stacked with Juwan and Hill. Huh. Jets D makes this one. I do like the concept of a game stack of the Dolphins stuff because we got Waddle being highly owned, Achan being highly owned. One way to cut that ownership would be to put Shuck plus Olave, Juwan Johnson, whatever. That's it. But I don't know about Taysom Hill and Juwan Johnson with Shuck. I feel like if Taysom Hill hits, he pulls from the QB too meaningfully. Your number 5 lineup is a Stroud one. Stroud, Devin Neal, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Wilson, Nico Collins, Michael Pittman. So we're getting the game stack here with Houston and the Colts. Dalton Schultz, Kamani Vidal again, Titans D again. Let me just confirm real fast that Hampton's not in the data set. Yeah, no guarantee that he plays, but the most recent quote I saw made it sound like he was going to play. So watch out for that. But yeah, they don't have Hampton in the data set, and they've got Vidal at 15 fantasy points. Stochastic got him as a top value as well. It's one of the things that would move right away. If Vidal is in, not a bad play, but if Hampton is in, I think he's still not a good play. Vidal being the number 2 back probably takes too much work away. But it doesn't matter. Brissett and McBride with Igbokwe bring back could be a fun way to get a touch different. I mean, yeah, I would still go to, I think I'd go to Harrison. I think you need the double still. But yeah, I mean, look, if the field's gonna be getting Michael Wilson a lot with ETR data, just not playing him could be one move. Bowers would scare me as bad as the Vegas defense offense has been. Maybe the new OC will matter. Maybe. I mean, hard for me to say. I think certainly if you're an OC coming in, you would probably want to take advantage of it, but I would have thought that for Chip Kelly as well, and that wasn't the case. Your mileage may vary, but I think Olsen historically, the new OC there has been tight end friendly. But I can't say that with any concrete things. I think he's had a bunch of different offenses that have done different things, so we'll see. But certainly that would be my thought. Jacoby Brissett, 6% ownership or overall exposure overall. He's your highest ROI player. ETR has loved Brissett the entire time. This week, because he's not the cash game QB, I think it's cool to go to him. It still feels to me like results chasing from a couple games ago, and I do think getting Harrison back in upsets things meaningfully. But Brissett to McBride, with how hot Wilson has been, and just the mix of Harrison coming in and how that affects both guys, I could see doing the single. I'm just not sure if the single will be like lightly owned enough. Baker Mayfield, 165% ROI at number 2, 5% exposure. Guess the assumption here is that Baker plays. It could be Teddy Bridgewater. Baker has not practiced, I think, at all this week, but he is tough, and he doesn't have to really practice during the week to get in there. They really don't want to play Teddy Bridgewater, but they basically said, the team had said at some point earlier in the week, they'd have to have an entirely new offense for a lot of stuff with Bridgewater because he doesn't have the arm talent, doesn't have the mobility that Baker has, can't stay alive in the pocket. So I don't know how that works with the fact that Baker hasn't practiced all week, because if Bridgewater can't do that stuff, like you kind of have to practice for Bridgewater's plays. So I think it may be unlikely that Baker plays, but he's in the data set right now. He's coming up. I don't think Bridgewater would come up though, if he were the starter. Saints D coming up with a 149% ROI and only 1% exposure. So not played very often, but when it does hit, it does pay off meaningfully. Devon Vele, 146% ROI, 2% exposure. He did get more snaps last week. Got to 71 snaps. For comparison, Olave was at 64. Juwan Johnson at 62. Taysom Hill at 26. So a lot of snaps for Devon Vele. Yeah, sure, as a pay down option, why not? Or a bring back to Dolphins stuff. Trey McBride, 9% exposure, 145% ROI. So he is a top ROI player alongside Brissett. Not a surprise. Mika Igbokwe as a chalkier player, right behind these guys in ROI. And Michael Wilson, same thing. Devin Neal coming up a lot here. Devin Neal's numbers real fast. Because I still, like, in my brain, I'm like, Kamara's going to play, but he really might not at this point. Devin Neal has not missed a single tackle in the run game to start the year. That's not a good start. He has missed 42% in the pass game and been targeted slightly less than Kamara there. There's really no reason to believe Devin Neal should come in and be good based on what he's shown so far this year. But, the role is there for sure. Mayfield seen participating. Look, his shoulder injury is a non-throwing arm. That can be that, but I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see him playing, but we'll see. All right, let's go to the stochastic side of things here. We're going to run the sim. 10,000 lineups coming up here. Simmed out 10,000 times. Nice way for the Bucs coaching staff to say Teddy's completely washed. He's never had the arm talent. I mean, even of a Baker, who I think is not highest tier arm talent in the league. But yeah, it means really that you can't hold the ball back too often. A lot more timing routes, a lot more quick throw stuff for Teddy Bridgewater for getting out there, which could be a good thing for Godwin, Igbokwe, Cade Otton, Bucky for as much as he plays. Bucky's been a full participant in practice, but apparently he's going to be limited to like 25 to 30 snaps, so you can't really play him this week. But I don't know. It would be hard for Baker to go. It's hard, especially if you have to like change the offense up on the chance that he can't go. This is one thing I've been more keyed in on with teams this year is like teams, if there's anything that upsets the routine of the week, it seems like they usually don't want to play the guy, like if they don't have to. For a team like the Bengals getting Flacco in, like that's the outlier where it's like, oh, we just need to try to save the season kind of stuff. But for everybody else, like the player's not practicing in full go during the week. It's been so often that the guys just aren't playing during the game coming up. And, it might be just the preponderance of injuries we've had this year, but that's been one observation for me is like, if guys aren't practicing, I'm just immediately kind of going, I don't know if this guy's going to play. But we'll see. Baker is definitely one of those unique birds. Probably doesn't have to play the whole week. or practice all week rather. Let's see what we get here against Stochastic. You want to see their data as it updates. If guys get ruled in, Hampton's going to affect things a little bit in how the sim looks. Guys get ruled out, same thing as well. But check it out for yourself. Link down below, promo code SPLASH, 15% off, and that is weekly and monthly packages. All the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff, it's 15% off. So go get better at DFS. You guys that are out there, you want to play these showdown slates and stuff, really take a look at lineups, use the data, use the tools. Even if nothing else, just take it for a week, understand how sims look, what good lineups look like according to this data, because a lot of people out there, and I know it, watching, frankly, my chat sometimes here, chats around the industry, I can tell people have not used sims enough because they're talking about lineups that are just not ones that have a high shot of winning. It happens pretty frequently, and it's not a slight to anybody. It's just using the tools available to you. When you have better weapons in your arsenal, we didn't always keep bows and arrows when guns were available. That's maybe not the best analogy here in America, but you know what I'm saying here. Use the gun. Shoot some fish if you can. I was 8 points away from first in the millie, had all the right pieces, but had Gibbs. That's a tough one. It's a tough one, Chris, but sometimes that's every DFS slate. Hey, shout out to you getting close. That's a skill in its own. Sam Darnold, and really something too, if you ever are top 100 in tournament, it's something that my old CEO, Tom Kennedy, had told me many moons ago at Stochastic and always stuck with me and made me feel better about some slates. If you finish top 100, it's basically like finishing in first place because of the variance it takes to finish first place in a given slate, especially for large field tournaments. So for anybody out there that's been struggling, but you get those occasional lineups that bubble up, there is still positivity to be had. Your number one lineup here, according to Stochastic data, we got Sam Darnold, Breece Hall, Kamani Vidal. Again, keep in mind, Hampton's on the data set. JSN, Jalen Waddle, Chimere DK makes it. AJ Barner makes it. So we're getting the double stack here for Seattle. Brock Bowers, double tight end build. Browns D makes it as well against the Niners. You're probably getting at least one sack from old Myles Garrett this week. Number two, Jacoby Brissett, Breece Hall, Kamani Vidal again, Jalen Waddle again, Emeka Egbuka makes this one, Chimere DK again, Trey McBride, Kyle Pitts, double tight end again, and Browns D again. Number three, Cam Ward, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Jalen Waddle, Emeka Egbuka, Chimere DK, George Kittle, Kamani Vidal, and Titans D. So Vidal's making all the lineups, but that will absolutely change if Hampton doesn't play. Number four, another double stack for Sam Darnold. We got Darnold, Devon Achane, Kamani Vidal, JSN, Jalen Waddle, John Mechie, Dalton Schultz, AJ Barner, and Dolphins D. And number five, Matt Stafford. Again, love that matchup going against Carolina. Devon Achane, Kamani Vidal, Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Chimere DK, Harold Fannin making it, Colby Parkinson, two tight ends that I don't want to get a lot of, but sure. Browns D. I mean, Fannin actually I don't mind. Parkinson, too many guys taking tight end snaps there. But yeah, Stafford double, sure. Highest ROI players in the slate. Again, Kamani Vidal with no Hampton in looks pretty good. You're facing the Raiders. Vidal has had a great workload, even though the results have not been there every week. But if Hampton comes in, Hampton's probably not going to be a good enough play. With Vidal still taking some amount of the workload, Vidal would also be unplayable with Hampton in. So keep that in mind. Hampton in, haha. Number two, Browns D, 12.5% ROI. I do wonder if Browns D gets a little bit overplayed, given the fact we saw Brock Purdy basically try to give away the game on national TV on Monday night against the Panthers. Going against the Browns is a whole different ball game compared to the Panthers. Like, they're going to get a lot of pressure. They're going to defend well. They're going to shut down the run. They're going to do everything. Honestly, like, in my opinion, the Browns this year, and this might not be a hot take, but maybe it is, they're the number two defense on the Broncos. Like, they're a team I don't want to play anybody against. But I'm not sure that means that they're going to be great, going against the Niners. So just going to see them popping up here, but there he is. Keon Coleman at number three, a 9% ROI. Coleman popping up the Sims, been weird to see this morning. I mean, look, he's cheap for not playing the last few weeks. If he does get out there, you assume he takes a roll back. But obviously, them adding Brandon Cooks, removing Elijah Moore, you're adding another player that does something similar to Keon Coleman, at least theoretically. It's not great for Keon Coleman. So he's in a really fragile spot. I think it wouldn't be crazy to play him. If the Sim is going to make him chalk, it's a little bit tough to love. Tyrod Taylor, 6% ROI for him at number four. Again, I think he's a good value QB at 4,300, especially relative to the matchup. But hasn't paid off yet, so in a meaningful way. John Mechie, AD Mitchell coming right behind him. I like this double stack. It will allow you to afford all the stars. I'm sure I'll be playing some Jets doubles again this week after I tried it last week. I had lots of cash with it. I don't think it was a tournament winning kind of play necessarily, but I think it can be if things break a certain way. Jets team totals make you love the double stack, but the double stack, these guys, Mason Taylor, it's cheap enough to let you cram in your JSNs, your Taylors, your whatever expensive guys you want on the slate. And Chimere DK, positive ROI as well, right behind these guys. Vikings, same thing. AJ Barner, pretty close too. Highest stack ROIs, single stacks at QB. Nobody's got a positive ROI, but Taylor, Tyrod that is. Sam Darnold, Tyler Shuck are your highest guys. Double stacks, highest ROI is Tyrod Taylor. Right behind him is Sam Darnold at a 5% ROI, which is about 1/4 of what Taylor has. And CJ Stroud at number 3 with a negative 2% ROI on double stacks. Triple stacks, it's Tyrod again, 32% ROI. Herbert 13, Darnold 10, Cam Ward right behind them with 7, Josh Allen with 4 and a triple stack. Okay. Tyrod Taylor, sim approved this week. Glad to see it. Your highest exposures. Oh my God. Kamani Vidal, 82% exposure, Fields at 11. Again, this makes sense if Hampton is not playing. If Hampton is playing, I don't think you'd want to do that. I mean, you definitely wouldn't want to do it. I don't even think that's a hot take. You definitely don't want to play Kamani Vidal this much. But right now, he's coming up an incredible amount in the Sims, and ETR data liked him as well. Devon Achane, 60% exposure, Fields at 46. So you'll probably get a lot of Vidal Achane lineups together. Achane, we've talked enough about already. Think he's perfectly fine chalk. But if he's in every lineup, I just think that's a little bit much for a guy that's not playing a great matchup on paper. Breece Hall, 48% exposure, Fields at 31. Stochastic had high ownership on him, and they like him even more in the sim. So nothing crazy here besides Vidal's ownership being much higher in the sim than in the projected ownership. That's something's got to move here. Even if if Hampton is out, Vidal's ownership is going to come up a bunch. So it's odd that it's not up now with Hampton not in the data set. But if I had to guess, your 3 chalk RBs this week will be Vidal, Achane, and Hall. If you do get no Hampton. JSN, 36% exposure, Fields at 24. You're getting above the field on a $9,500 guy. The matchup versus Minnesota is not as bad as it might seem, but that's still a lot of ownership for a dude that's almost 10K and as a receiver, the most variant position in football. Chris Olave, 33% exposure, Fields at 18. Do you like that play? I've liked Olave pretty much every week of the year. Going against Miami, one of the worst defenses in football, and certainly the worst defense we have available this week. Happy to do that. And Jalen Waddle, 30% exposure, Fields at 21. So you're getting Dolphins, Saints stuff pretty easily. Highest leverage plays, Kamani Vidal. Not a surprise, 71% more in the field. That'll do it. Browns D, 18% more in the field. They're playing about a quarter of these top 150 lineups for Stochastic. Breece Hall, 17% leverage. Chris Olave, 15%. Devon Achane, 14%. Darnold, not that far behind. A lot of plays that they're above the field on. Vidal is the largest difference by a wide margin. And Devontae Adams, negative 10% leverage for him, negative 8 for Kyron, negative 7.5 for Genty. You're barely playing these guys, all of them under 5%. Kenneth Walker, you're fading as well. Negative 7.4% leverage on him. He is going to play. I really don't trust if he were to get chalky. I get the price tag's cheap at 5,300, but not a great matchup. And the Charbonnet thing matters, especially for high value touches. And 49ers D, you're playing at negative 7% leverage. Shador has shown some real bad traits under pressure, like ungodly bad EPA stuff. Still think that the Niners defense is bad enough that I'm willing to take shots at Shador again. I liked what I saw visually, but the numbers underlying for Shador are not very good. So Niners defense can get there, but apparently you're not going to play him at all in stochastic lineups. We're going to do a single lineup sim here. I am also going to start actually, let me start this lineup, but I'm going to start the timer for the premium video coming up in a moment as well. So if you want to see that, guys, join the channel right now. Otherwise, we will be transitioning to the members-only game-by-game preview. I will be talking about that Showdown slate coming up as well at 3 p.m. too. So if you want to get that info, you can. But stay tuned here. And guys, before I do this part, make sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe. It goes a long way for me here. Just one dude showing you my gambling as best I can across the NFL, across the NBA. Every slate I am playing, I show up here, do the content for you guys as best I can. Just really taking you through the process with the data, with the different providers, and all of that. And if you're gonna, even if you're going to fade everything I say here, just hit that like button, subscribe. It helps me out a lot here fighting the YouTube algorithm because it is always a battle. And I appreciate your guys' support a bunch. And please do check the promo code SPLASH over at Stochastic, link down below. Check it out. NFL data, NBA data, all the sports, the expensive stuff, the cheap stuff. It's all 15% off there at Stochastic with the promo code SPLASH. So take advantage of it. Half the money you pay to them comes back to me. A big way I'm able to do what I do. And of course, if you want to see the premium video, get my data sheet, all of that stuff, join the channel here. $5 to join, and you'll be good to go. All right. Well, you know what? The sim told me it's okay. So let's go Tyrod Taylor here. Mechie has been the main target earner as well. He's going to be the first one I pair. Still think the work is there enough for AD Mitchell to get there. But Mechie last week played 51 snaps. AD Mitchell. Actually, AD Mitchell got to 50. All right, well, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go AD Mitchell too. Let's have some fun. I want to see how this Jets double performs. I liked it last week. It didn't pay off for me. Happy to go back there again. Now we can afford a lot. We know the Sim's going to want JSN. Let's give the Sim JSN. We know the Sim's going to want Kamani Vidal. We'll give the Sim Kamani Vidal for now. Again, I do think Hampton's got a pretty good shot of playing, but if he doesn't, Vidal will be the play. So let's just build around that with his Jets double and see what we get. Do I want to pay up for one of these RBs? I don't. Jonathan Taylor, you could get me to pay for. Achane feels like we could just play chalk. I think if we're doing a Tyrod double, even though it's coming up in the Sim, I think that's going to be it. I'm literally doubling Tyrod right now. Yes, I would. That's why I'm doing it. Go with Hall too. I think I'd rather get a bring back in here. Let me see. Can we afford Bijan in this? We definitely afford Mooney. We can theoretically afford Bijan here. Let's see. I don't think I consider McBride a must-have this week at 70. Did they like change the pricing algorithm or something? This is so much money for Trey McBride, and he's been like ungodly cheap for a month. And I guess that could be just the ownership catching up or whatever. Yeah, on paper, it's just a normal tight end matchup against Tampa Bay. 14% target rate, 0.06 EPA. All right, well, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to put in Dulcich. They're going to afford a $3,800 defense. Ramsey against. If anybody's going to really shit the bed, Bryce Young would be it. Certainly could be a good Bryce game because he's going to get pushed the moment that game starts by the Rams. But let's go Rams D. So the team here, Tyrod Taylor, Kamani Vidal, Devon Achane, Mechie, AD Mitchell, JSN, Greg Dulcich, Bijan Robinson, Rams D, 39% ROI, 0.6% win rate. Easy. It should always be that easy to build great lineups, guys. Let's try one with Mooney real fast. Let me start the clock. Let's start the members only stream clock right now. Shout out Chris for joining. He'll be able to see it in a moment. All right, but let's put in Mooney. If we go Mooney, can we afford McBride? Probably not. No, 1,700. There's no defense that cheap on the slate. What if we go Sim like Browns D? Go Browns D, and we have 6,500 at tight end, which is a little bit too much money. We'll go Brock Bowers. So basically 1v1 swapped there. Dulcich, I guess that was a 3v3 swap. But 15% ROI. So the lineup here, same one up top with Taylor, Vidal, Achane, Mechie, AD Mitchell, JSN. We put in Bowers, Mooney, and Browns D. It got a little bit worse, but still a decent lineup. I'm going to play too much Jets. This doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who the QB is. I'm going to be one of the laws of physics that I'm going to play too many Jets on any slate. I really liked the stream. Any thoughts on Juwan Johnson as a piece? The banged up Olave. Olave's banged up every week of his life. I don't think that matters. But Juwan Johnson played a ton of snaps. He's fine. Olave, Vele, Juwan Johnson all playing a bunch. I think they're all good plays relative to the matchup and all that. But guys, that's the video for today. So premium video coming up in a moment here, and really in about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm gonna have to tap dance here. Before I do that, guys, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. Again, it goes a long way for me here. I'm just one guy doing the work as best I can. It might seem like there's a team behind me, but no, I do these thumbnails. I do the data prep. I do the stuff here on screen. I'm running the show as I do it. It's a lot of work, but I love what I do here, and I do want you guys to be a part of it. So please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please join the channel as well. There are explicit directions. Oh, it's on the NBA channel. Fuck. How do I get into the Discord? Just click the link in the description and it should take you there if you're already synced up. But you'll see the video no matter what here coming up in a moment. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys. Actually, no, wait, I have to keep plugging. Promo code SPLASH over at Stochastic, 15% off. Gamble responsibly with Stochastic. That's one way to gamble responsibly. Get 15% off all the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff, like I always talk about here. It's a great deal. You really are doing yourself a disservice if you're not using sims. Even if it's only the single lineup sim to get a read on things, you should kind of have a counterbalance against just building lineups by hand. At this point in DFS, where you are begging to give away money, even if you're having success, you are begging to give away money. And that's just the reality of things. That's not me trying to hawk product here. But I would like to hawk the product as well. So please do get 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. Check out the Solver too. Click the link down below. Then use the promo code SOLVER20 over there if you want to save 20%. Solver never gives deals. So if you want to get in there, it is a great tool. Check it out for yourself. Get 20% off. And now I can say, gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here. See anything in the chat? No good questions or anything. Wonder what Puka and a stronger tight end, and not a stranger tight end. Stronger tight end looks like it's a pivot. Well, you'll have to find out for yourself, I guess. But let me see. We got a minute and 50 before the stream flips. So real fast, let's go back here. This is what you get as a paying member, especially one as beloved as Robert Griffin III. You'll get me running extra things here. I think just go back to Dulcich, right? He seems like the value tight end du jour. Dulcich, I do think large field tournament stuff, a little bit less stoked about playing. I think he's going to be your cash game tight end this week. But Dulcich, Puka Nacua, Browns D, 42% ROI, 0.6% win rate. So there you go. You can swap for their high ceiling guys. That definitely will work. I mistimed this one. I've been timing the exit for these videos really well the last few weeks. And not today. I think I need to start it when I do the single lineup sim build, and then I'll be like in good position to end the stream on time. But plugs today as well. Premium stream coming up now. 2 p.m. NBA video coming up. So tune in there, either on the @SplashPlayBets channel or just click the playlist here on the NFL YouTube channel. Stochastic live before lock for NBA today at 6:30. Tomorrow, I believe at 6 p.m. I'll be on those. Live before lock on Stochastic for NFL. I'll be on that at 11:30 on Sunday. I think that's it. We still got 30 seconds. That was my sexy dance. All right, now I think we can hit the button. I appreciate all you guys being here. Thanks for watching. Hope it was a good Thanksgiving. Go be fucking little capitalist piggies. Enjoy Black Friday as well. And enjoy the holidays, guys. Spend some time with family amidst all the gambling and things that we have to do here. But I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Premium members, stay tuned. We're transitioning to you right now. Bye-bye.